Good morning. In Islamic faith, we have the 5 pillars in Islam. We're not talking about that. We have 6 pillars in faith. When you say faith, something about the innate, about something very, very deep that concerns the soul of a human being. Does it have to do, this faith, with any kind of polarity, any type of sectarianism, any type of regionalism, nation, whatever call it? 6 pillars say believing in one God, angels, the books, the prophets, the day of judgment, and destiny. When you hear that there is no language, there is no type of sectarianism, no type of regionalism, no type of race, nothing. Something is sheltering humanity. This is the faith, the 6 pillars in faith. Now, getting to just one point here about the prophets of God. You know, you have to believe in all his prophets, even though Muslims, they say Muhammad is the encyclopedia, is the recap. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. God asks you to believe in all the prophets and don't make any distinction between them. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. Why is that? Prophet himself, sometimes they favor him, his own companion. He said, do not do that. Don't do this distinction between me and the prophets before me. Don't do this. And why is this? The prophet is one time in his epoch, during his era. There will be humanity, tribes, nations, populations, they will spread. They believe in that prophet. If you touch that prophet, you neglect, you do something, you're going to hurt all humanity. You haven't hurt one prophet, 1 billion that are behind him. They are truly behind him, not truly, voluntarily, involuntarily. They say we believe in that prophet. You should respect that. Look at what is the faith. Unlike other religions, we say religions, hey, talking about Judaism. In Judaism, the way it was revealed to Moses alayhi salam and the way it is today, it is totally different. You know that. If Moses comes back, he won't recognize his religion. Jesus, the same thing. If he comes back, he won't recognize his religion. And Muhammad, peace be upon all of them, won't recognize his religion. He will recognize the Quran that hasn't been modified. That is true. But the religion, totally the behavior, our behavior, we are far away. Not in a sense of like being sinners. No. In a sense of creating systematism from religion, and it becomes a dry, institutionalizing religion that becomes idolatric more than spiritual. Anyway, how do the Judaism, fabricated Judaism, what is the faith in Judaism? Judaism, they believe only in Moses. Do they believe in him as a prophet of God? Verbalizing the word, yes. They believe in him as a hero, a dry personality, not linked to divine message. That's a very important point. Solomon is a king. God forbid, he was a prophet of God. David, they consider them as a king. God forbid, he was a prophet of God. All of them, they came with the same message. So when you use the word king, hero, you are drawing this person from the divine message. Is no longer divine message that there is a transcendence, constantly transcendence from God. They believe only in, do they believe in Jesus Christ? No, they don't believe in Jesus Christ. Why? Because he's from a different... No. He is Jewish. He said, I came to you, to the children of Israel. I accept what was revealed to Moses before me, and I let you know, or I inform you. I bring it to your attention. There will be a prophet after me, small Ahmed. His name will be Ahmed. He said, I kept what was in the Torah. مصدقا لما معكم من التوراة. He didn't touch, but why they reject him? Here you can understand that when a religion becomes an egoistic agenda is taken from religion, is no longer a divine religion. Religions, some people, they want to convert to the religion. Some people, they want to convert to Christianity or Islam, wherever. You know, people are free. In Judaism, you have to be born with the blood. You convert, but you are always isolated, pushed off, left off. That's how they believe in that. And what is really strange is when they use the word anti-Semitism. You have not rejected Jesus. You have rejected, go to the statistics, you have pushed away and pushed off 2 billion, 3, 4, I don't know. I'm not good at that. Christians in the world. How can you speak about anti-Semitism since yourself you have pushed them off? How can you speak about anti-Semitism since you yourself have pushed Muslims off? Muslims, their faith, as I said earlier, they believe in Moses, Jesus, and all the prophets of God. If you touch one of them, your faith is in a disequilibrium. You lost your balance. You can be kafir. Do you know what is kafir? That's kafir. You are, that's it, heresy. That's heresy. Who is really welcoming humanity and who is really pushing the humanity away? The fabricated dogma that they fabricated about chosen people, it was made after Moses left this world. By the way, have you ever asked yourself what is so special about Moses' cane? Peace be upon him. You know, the cane. What is the cane? The cane is a symbol of humbleness. Humbleness is an administrative term. Because when we say humility, we don't like it. But that's a symbol of humility because the actions outside, they transmit, affect, they will influence the heart. If I do this, and I take a cigarette and I do this, that is showing you the self-aggrandizement. That will affect my heart. And sometimes is the reverse. It comes from the heart to the actions. So in order to keep that state of humility, he was holding that. Have you ever asked why? That's a symbol of humility. He was constantly, do you know that he was perhaps the strongest man in the world? Very strong. And he is like this. Do you know he was a very knowledgeable person? But he was always like this, going back to the state of humility. What they did after him, before those who modified the Torah, his real disciples, they left these so-called, the same trace, the same followers, real disciples. When the boys, they reach the age of puberty, they do this sort of ceremony. They recite the Torah. This is just after him, after Moses. You know what they do? They create a sort of like a suspense. Like create what is going to surprise him. Yeah, maybe he's going to buy me a Jaguar for my birthday. Yeah, maybe, you know what I'm saying? It gives me like a very nice watch, Rolex. they surprise him with a cane. They give him a cane and they said, be careful, you detach yourself from this. God had saved us from Pharaoh because of this. These are the real disciples. They modified it and they created another innovation, as they call it, bid'ah. They still celebrate it up to this present moment, but they show a kid that this is the time to show your self-aggrandizement. You know, there's no cane anymore. Now, the doctrine, why we are talking about this? We may think when we decide, when we are in the institution, corporation, institution, on a government level, you know, when we speak, we decide, we think we decide. Decisions are influenced unconsciously by the brain. Even the brain who decides, that's true. But these impulsive decisions, compulsive decisions, they are under the influence of the sacredness of the religion, true or modified. The doctrine, the fabricated dogma that they had, this is itself creating what we are going to speak about. We don't accept orders, we ride humanity. This is exactly how they said it. We ride humanity. You know, when you say we ride because we are, first of all, this is a psychological vertigo. A psychological vertigo doesn't leave room for empathy. A psychological vertigo doesn't leave room for sympathy. A psychological vertigo opens a door of tolerance, of permissibility to others, things to be done, to be tolerated, which are actually finance, another aspect, financial vertigo, which is usury. They practice usury. It was prohibited in the Torah, it was prohibited in the Evangel, but the Quran, forget it. Getting back to Jesus Christ, why they rejected him. He said, I take everything that was said in the Torah, because he's well aware. There are three main reasons. Two main reasons they concern the children of Israel, and one concern the Romans. The two ones is, the first as humility, and they were practicing superiority, self-aggrandizement. He was against that. Why his name is the Messiah, by the way? The Messi. If you have noticed, is all the names are in a passive voice. It's Messiah, Al-Masih. You know what I'm saying? Al-Masih, because he is the touch, the anointer. But the word is not the anointer, the caresser. No, it's the caressed, the anointed. Al-Masih, mamsuh, by the hand of God. He was constantly touching the ground, sitting on the ground. You see those bunches that are in a church today? Those who made this, the priests, they work for the Romans. These are to lift people from the ground, not to touch the ground, and to create, to eliminate humility, the same thing as the Jewish people. They eliminated superiority. There is no such a thing existing during Jesus' time. Getting back to him, this is humbleness, humility. They don't like that. And interests, usury, against usury. The same thing as you can see it. They're not going to say the usury. There are other things. He's bad and he is, you know. With the Romans, he was preaching an unseen God to allow the emotions to navigate between time and space. Unlike the Romans, they worship idolatry. So that's a good justification for the Romans to kill him or to decide for his execution is, look what he's touching, your gods, your idolatry. He's touching, he's against your belief. Jesus was not against their belief. He was telling people, go to the Creator. The idolatry, iconoclastically speaking, it will be eliminated by itself. Prophet Muhammad, when he was in Mecca, he never touched the idolatry of people. He didn't touch it. Don't think it was random things, no. Because it's inside their minds, their brains. You eliminate it, you break it now here in front of him, but it's in his brain. So when the faith of God eliminated itself these idolatries, institutions from their brains, then when he came back to Mecca, the return, he was just touching them with their cane, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, getting back to Jesus Christ alayhi salam. He was a danger, you know what I'm saying? So these are the reasons he was preaching the unseen God constantly, up to the point they decide, even though he was a Jewish. Now, speaking about Muslims, why they don't believe in Muhammad? The Quran, when you read it with faith, is the psychiatrist, the psychologist that is divulging all your secrecies. As clean as you can be. I am clean. I'm Mr. Good. When I read it, it tells you who you are. That's the mirror. Because so far in our life, what we want to see, only our holographic image in the mirror of life. I'm good. I'm good. He's bad. I'm good. He's bad. I'm good. That's how I am. That's how we are. Getting back to this about the faith itself, what does it? Psychological vertigo, followed by financial vertigo, followed by political vertigo. What's going on these days in Israel? The same thing happened through history. The same thing happened through history. Only innocent people, Jewish families, innocent civilians, innocent that are facing these atrocities. Going far back, perhaps we go to the Second World War. Families were sent to the gas chamber. It doesn't matter, 6 million, 10 million, or one family. It's a human being. But the thing is, those responsible for this, so responsible for doing this, you can never touch them. They are not the real Jews who were, you know what I'm saying, the real, talking about those who made religion for their narcissistic agenda. Only the innocent Jews that they were facing that. During the Second World War, the world was drowned, I should say, living all kind of chaos. Populations were being bombarded at the time, everywhere in the world. What this was decided during the war is to establish or to found Israel, the state of Israel, to create the World Bank and the IMF. Who did this? I said it yesterday in a video. I said, this is the progeny of the Crusaders. You may think about Jewish Zionists. It's not the Jewish Zionists who created or founded that state. They executed. Those Zionist Christians who created it, who founded it. At the price of who? They killed all these people to have a good reason to justify themselves. They have been persecuted. They say, but who persecuted them? Hitler. Hitler is puppet himself. Can you imagine this person, you listen to his words? He is not a politician. He is a demagogue. He is a demagogue. He knows how to. He was all conducted, teleguided to go to the top of the pyramid. You understand? to kill and to do that. Of course, we have to use a sheep, a sacrifice sheep, as they call it in Islam, kabshul Eid. We have to use because we want to put the etiquette on one person and his group, which are the Nazis. But who has really caused that kind of genocide? Call it Holocaust. I repeat, these are innocent Jews. The real ones who were directing the flow never touched. Check history. When the Jewish people were being executed, persecuted, some others, they were celebrating that with the champagne, with the aperitif. In history, during the Crusaders, they targeted, according to history, 5 Crusaders, they targeted Muslims. They say few Jews. That's his story, not his story. The Crusaders, they targeted the Unitarians first, those who believe in the oneness of God and Jesus is the messenger of God. These people were wiped out from the earth. Minority are existing. I'm not talking about the religious sect that is existing today. There are minorities, individuals existing, dispersed in the world. The reason why they speak about the 4 books, they never mention about the Gospel of Barnabas. I'm not saying it is authentic. They never speak, because the only book that speaks about that Jesus is the messenger of God. This is what was modified by the rabbis and the priests. They targeted the Unitarians, they targeted the Jews, and they targeted the Muslims. But why they targeted? When any time in history you ask them, why these massacres against the Jews? Up to the point. Testimony of the Christians themselves, the loyal ones. Up to the point that a lot of them, Jewish, converted to Christianity or claim Christianity just to avoid these massacres. They take them and they undress them to see their private parts if they are circumcised or not. They know that the Jews, they can circumcise like the Muslims, and they liquidate them with the families. As I said, history cries blood rather than tears if you want to know about history, about the Crusaders. There was a river in those neighborhoods that stayed for 6 years red with the blood. What they did, those people who claim democracy. And you speak about human rights. And today they say Israel has to defend itself. Jewish people claim to know history. They don't know history. They don't know history. They know what satisfies their moment, not what satisfies the future generations. They satisfies the moment and they said, I'm good now. Who cares about the next generations? That's not really history. And the biggest problem is when they try to enter the future, which is uncertainty. They pre-program the future. They program people. Uncertainty, it belongs to God. That include the when and the where and the how. All of these potential of each individual, no, they program you because they fear. They feel with such a fear of this uncertitude. They program future. They call history. Then they will be surprised by the revolts. Their nation, same thing is going on these days, and other nations against them. When you ask them, particularly, you say, why these massacres against the Jews? They tell you because they killed our God. This is in history. Well, this is what the Crusaders, they verbalize. The main reason behind it, it's not that. They don't care about God anyway. They don't care about Jesus anyway, because they exterminated their own people, the Unitarians first. How can you say because they killed our God, they mean Jesus Christ, peace be upon him? What they feel, they are victim of their own dogma, fabricated dogma. What does it do, the fabricated dogma? Is itself enslaving them. They find themselves after 1 decade, 2, 3, 4, that decisions are not theirs. Key sectors are not theirs. They are executed through usury, and governments are executed through deficit. They realize and then they turn against them. This is what they did in the Second World War. Today, it's the same thing. It's the same scenario as history repeats itself. History, doesn't repeat itself because you are ruminating your thoughts. That's why you are making the same history. God's transcendence in this world, 1 minute is different than the other. How can you say that? You are ruminating the same doctrine, living it all over and over and over, and then you say, history repeats itself. You expect something to happen because you are ruminating the same chaos. What's going on today? We spoke about the Crusaders, Zionists, Christians. They have nothing to do with Christianity. They have nothing to do with Christians either. During the Crusaders were liberated from all the prisons of European prisons, liberated by the Vatican, sponsored, equipped, and sent to kill. Same thing today. ISIS claim to be Muslims. Criminals, indoctrinated by Anglo-Saxon. England and United States. Sponsored financially by Saudi Arabia to go to kill. Understand what I'm jumping like French people, they say, vous sautez du coq à l'âne. In French, they have an expression, say, you are jumping or leaping from the rooster to the donkey. As I said, they have nothing to do with Christianity. They have nothing to do with the real Christians. Now, what's going on in the world about these people who say Israel has to defend itself? They are not looking how to stabilize, how to create peace. They're provoking. United States is because it's our allies. Everybody knows it in the world. United States is no ally and there's not such a thing. United States is the Jewish lobby that controls every sector over there. All these wars are for just an elite. Everybody knows it. See this deficit that's going on over there? 33 trillion. Do you think these people think about future generations? The president is a puppet. Congressmen, all these think tanks are all financed by these elite, bribed by this elite. They control everything. All these wars, all of these and they are those that we call them vultures, lurkers. My pronunciation maybe is a little heavy, L-U-R, I think E-E-R, lurkers. Lockheed Martin, the Big Pharma, General Electric. Even people, when they hear about General Electric, they think about them as they manufacture appliances. There's a big industry of armaments behind them. They take advantage. Whenever there is a chaos, they make money. Billions and billions and billions. The Big Pharma, the same thing. Billions, billions. So what's going on? Now, why we are talking about this? Telling a story. History, it's 1001 night. From all the previous centuries, you Jews, you never find them invading any country. They never. But they finance, they are behind them all. And they finance both of the invader and the invaded. The invader and the invaded, both of them are indebted. And they are making their money. Today in Europe, the governments are all in deficit. The population is all indebted. And this is what's going on. The revolt expected to happen. Expected, we're not pessimists, but you plant a tree of goodness, you will get goodness. You plant a tree of badness, don't expect to have one of the berries. Strawberry, blueberry, cranberry, blue. No. That's what you planted, what you're going to have. United States is the most indebted country in the world, Canada as well. See, only those countries that you call them G7. Check this, the tranquilizers in the world, Prozacs and what is derived. Only those countries. They are bombarded by the taxes and interest. Two things. You know, taxes. The government is going to squeeze them, is going to, you cannot imagine, to finance a war somewhere. What's going on in Europe? United States, the poverty, the level of poverty, they are more than a third world country, maybe the fourth world country, and the country is armament. Do they think about innocent Jews? Don't think about them. At all, they don't care about them. Those who are directing the traffic from behind the curtain of bamboo, they are not even in Israel. Even these puppets that are on the top of the government, these are just puppets. Israel was meant to destabilize the region, was not meant to stabilize them, because stabilizing, don't stabilize the world with the blood, whoever you are. 2 words, maybe 3. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the children of Israel were divided into 71 sections. One is real, the other all astray. Christians were divided into 72 sections. One is real, 71 astray. And my nation will be divided into 73 sections. One is real, the other astray. Now you're going to say, one is from the Jews, and one is from the Christians, and one is from the Muslims. No, that's one. That's one. What brings them together is the oneness of God. They keep away these doctrines. There are Jewish people, perhaps, I say it and I've seen them, I have lived with them. They are very loyal. They risk their life. Publishing, their journalists, some of them lawyers, some openly like this, against loyal. I myself don't risk it. You know, against what the United States is doing. England, this, or in Australia, Jewish people. They are loyal. You cannot put them with the others. They were born Jews like this. You know what I'm saying? But they are not. That's the verse in the Quran. Say, we min qawmi Musa, min among qawmi Musa, ummatun yaduna bil haqqi wa bihi yadilun. وَقَطَّعْنَاهُمْ 12 أَسْبَاطًا أُمَمًا. Among Muslims, they are loyal and they fight for loyalty. Christians as well. They are not. But, and a Muslim as well. So don't be surprised to see when you hear about the Zionism, say Zionism is a movement. This is just an expression Jewish people who wrote it to probably exclude themselves from being categorized with the others, what they are doing. But the way is exactly because there is Zionism in Jewish, there's Zionism in Christianity, and there's a Zionism in Islam. Once the self-aggrandizement, systematism of the religion, idolatric religion with the self-aggrandizement, it's enters. There's no such a thing, religion wherever. All of them are together. You hear about, you may find Joe Valaki, mafioso, is against Lucky Luciano. You may find him Lucky Luciano is against Al Capone. You may find him Al Capone is against Joe Valaki. But they belong all to Cosa Nostra. Listen, it's always pleasure. Thank you for sharing, and I see you soon.